Oh my God. All right, we back.
All right, we good?
Yeah, see, I
They
love the platform that I use. I do. I love the platform. But when you try to do slightly complex changes in midstream, they sometimes blow up. And that's what happened just now. So folks are coming back. Appreciate everybody for coming back. Listen, man. Jeez, oh. If it doesn't kill you, it only makes you stronger. If it don't kill you, it only makes you. Folks are back, coming back in the building, see them piling in. So yeah, appreciate everyone. I just told everyone to refresh their browser. I will do some very creative editing on this piece to kind of blend the two streams together. I'll do some creative editing on that. So, dang. All right. So let me go ahead and play this now, man. So, because we are back live and everyone is starting to come back in. But here we go with this video.
Downtown Atlanta Road. Coming up here and has got a conference with the legislature, real estate thing and all, and downtown Atlanta, staying here at the Omni Hotel. Everybody's CNN. Ain't seen a white person in sight. Homeless ones on the street. Every restaurant looking in here is black. Every car beside them is black. They can have Atlanta. It used to be a fun place to come to up here. They can have this place right here and stuff. There ain't no way. There's no way. Just there's your, yeah. Well, it was just a sign up there had Obama and all them on there and stuff, man. So, yeah, it's all that's up here.
He talking mad.
That's all that's up here, man.
You hear this?
And stuff is just crap. Yeah. Yeah. You and Borf need to come up here and go hunting. Yeah.
No, Tall Boy, that's only a.
Ain't nothing here, dog. Ain't
that's
nothing
on the
but
audio
platform.
itself.
That's all it is. Atlanta gone down, man. Just gone.
All right.
Pull out in front of me right here.
You want to talk about that first one? Or you want me going to the next one?
You can go to the next one. Just let's keep them going so we can.
Okay.
Go back.
Yes. Yeah, Tall Boy, appreciate. No, that actually it had a bit of a double echo on that particular audio clip right there, but that's right there, right? So that's Coach. That's Coach Mark Taylor. Let's go a little bit deeper into Coach Taylor.
Bro, look at this nigga trying to pull out in front of me right here. Look at this nigga trying to pull out in front of me right here. Hey, did you see that tree right there? Yeah. Did you see that tree right there? Roe will hang you from that tree.
All right, that's enough of that clip right there. I got no other words to say. I got nothing else to. From the first clip, you saw that it was Coach talking, right? The camera was turned back on him, and now he's talking to a young lady sitting in her car at a parking stop or whatever the case may be, and making those types of statements about this young lady in Atlanta. And Tall Boy, this is your neck of the woods, man, right? And I was checking in with you to see if you knew of this coach or knew anything about this, but and it's not just Atlanta, but it's all over the place, but. The issue that brings the relevance to this conversation is, again, this is someone who socially impacting has a key impact on our youth within sports. He's bringing young kids from the high school ranks, from the college ranks, and grooming them for the next level. And this is how he's talking, just random conversation with himself and whomever's in the car as he's driving up and down the streets of Atlanta. This is the last one that I'll show here.
Look what you got me. $129. Look at that. Nice. Look at that nice jacket. Laid out here on the bed for me. Nice. Columbia. Yeah. Columbia, yeah. Yeah. Look, got the Glock by the bed. Yeah, let me go. Room service. Y'all need y'all niggas to bring me some chicken wings, 2 hoes, a red bone and a white girl. Y'all want the white girl, Roe gonna try the red bone.
All right, that's enough. We've given this man enough airtime, but talk to me, man. Can't say it's not him, because again, the camera's turned on him and he's talking madness out here, and he's unapologetic in his statements because he knows he's being filmed. He knows what he's saying, and he knows the impact that he has on individuals and people around him. Cheryl is saying, what's new? I hate to say it. It's not new news, but But now that everyone's got these cameras in their hand and got these video cameras, and this gets propagated and pulled out there to the rest of the planet, I mean, this man still needs to, even though it's not new, this man still needs to face some type of judgment, some type of reconciliation, losing some contracts or something. He's not necessarily employed by any of the schools that he's worked with, the Clemsons or the Georgias or anything of that nature. But in terms of his trust that he's given to the youth out there and to the athletes that he's worked with, I think his business needs to be shut down, or his business needs to definitely lose some accreditation. Talk to me about your thoughts, man.
I think it should be cancel culture. I mean, we preach this cancel culture kind of mentality. It should be against someone just like him. I mean, this is a shame. And like you said, everyone has a camera. It wasn't everyone had the camera. He's filming himself talking this way. Well, saying this kind of rhetoric about, African-American people and calling us the N-word and all that stuff and portraying stereotypes like it's supposed to be some type of, like it's funny. It's not, and the fact of the matter that he's a guy that trains, that just helped kids get to college and help kids get to the pros, doesn't give him an excuse. There's other people can train. He ain't the only one. He ain't like he got the Da Vinci Code or he got the magic touch. He's just the person that happens to be in the right situation to help some of these young men. And it's funny, any coaches that associate with him and people that, they should be a cancel culture kind of movement. He shouldn't be working with kids if he really feels that way. I mean, it's funny. Would you think a black family would feel comfortable dropping their son off to him now for them to work out with him?
Well, what is it? His godson, his grandson, somebody in his family?
His granddaughter's African American.
Granddaughter, that's
so
what it is.
His daughter messed with a black man.
Come on. So it's in his family. At Thanksgiving, somebody's sitting at the table that look like you and me. And I can just imagine how uncomfortable that's going to be this year.
I mean,
tomorrow.
And the funny part, he posts pictures with his granddaughter.
Yes. Yeah. Out of respect, I'm not going to post those. I'm not going to show those pictures. But
like I told you before, he's the worst kind of racism because he's using his granddaughter as a token. He poses with athletes and pictures with athletes that are African American as a token to say, "Hey, I'm cool. I'm okay. I'm supportive." But then, as soon as the doors close and behind the doors, he's calling us the N-word and doing all these other things. How he really feels, talking about hanging us, how much he hates us. This used to be a good place. Now look at it now. Making comments like that. So he's showing his true colors on the background. That's the worst kind of racism. Man, he'll befriend you in front of your face and stab you in the back. Just because of the pigmentation of your color of your skin.
Yeah.
Not the character, not how good of a person you are, not how much you've done for him, not even how much money you are paying him to train you. He still feels that way about you. That's a scary person. Because he'll do anything to detriment. If it's not beneficial for him, he'll be detrimental towards you. Period. So I hope it's cancel culture on him. You ask a call of action, people need to call him out. And it should be a cancel culture. No one should give him their business no more.
Yeah, Tallboy said here, I'm okay with it. We now know what he stands for. This is crazy, but he ain't the only one that talks like this. Yep. I mean, it's true, right? Now we know who he is inside and out. Was not shined from the camera, multiple scenes, and we've only got 3 clips, right? I'm quite sure that there's more. If we were to go through his iPhone or whatever, his mobile device, I'm sure there's quite a few statements that have been made as well about individuals that he's either worked with or not worked with, or just like the young lady when he was driving in the car. So again, we know who he worked with, so we don't have to give him his money.
Yeah,
we don't have to give his training camp our money. But I mean, again, this is the attitude that still prevalent, still out there, and unfortunately kind of an influential with the youth out there who are looking for someone to help them get to that next level. And this is a gentleman who sits in a prominent seat. And this is what we got to deal with.
Well, I think when people always say, "Oh, racism doesn't exist," you know how people always screaming, "It doesn't exist anymore." Play this video.
Yeah, either one of them. Pick your choice, right? So I just grabbed 3 of them right there, folks. Grab 3 of them
because it does exist, and unfortunately, it exists in the sports world, and it exists when he's working with the youth, right? As he's working with young men that are trying to follow their dreams. And, he helped some of them achieve their dreams. But just like I said, just like Gruden was the same way. He say one thing in front of you while he's working with you. And, hey, man, I'm really not like that. But behind closed doors, he's making all these kind of comments. It's the same kind of similar situation. And it's sad. It's really sad. And just like they canceled Gruden, I hope people quit spending their money with that dude.
Yeah. Mama's saying here, there's so many others that just like him, and it's true. And again, if there's any benefit, any value of us having these $1,000 phones with cameras on them in our pockets, is a lot of this under the sheet, behind the curtain type of conversation and things that have happened before. You now have that proof, right? If you were that doubting Thomas, and you had to see the holes in the side and the holes in the hands. Come on, I'm gonna preach for a minute, but if you had to see it, now here's video and audio proof of this particular individual talking like that. So there we go, right there. There we go. We're gonna move forward from that, and we're gonna hopefully not give this man any more money, because that's just not the way I would like to spend my hard-earned dollars. Chris Stone, I see you in the building, sir. Listen, we're not gonna have issues like that tomorrow when I got you on the stream. We had some eCam stuff, but I was trying to do too much. I was trying to bring in a whole bunch of system. Leave me alone. Don't mess with me. I'm already on one today. So let me catch up with these comments here. Cowboy saying, in all fairness, we talk like this about white folks. We just don't record ourselves. Wait a minute. Come on now. We can go a whole different direction. We can have this conversation too. And we got 4 other stories to go into, but this is that Michael Jackson man in the mirror.
Elaborate on that one. We talk
about
white folks,
this could be that man in the mirror conversation. So I would love to hear some more dialogue about that. And you got the keys to the front door. If you want to come in, you can definitely come on air as well if you want to, man. Montel is right. The worst kind of racist. Yeah, listen, man. My college coach was like this, but you have to understand to get what you need out of the deal. Wow. So it's almost like he's saying it's an expectation that you talk like that and you treat people like that. I mean, there's no excuse for it, right? There really is.
I think they're just saying, make the most out of the situation, like get what you can get out of it and then move on and move past it. But I think we're in the day and era where that, I don't know if that's plausible on a lot of scenarios. I mean, as great as good as a coach as he may be, that attitude right there, which, like I said, if it's not beneficial for him, he's going to be detrimental to you. As good as he can help you, but if you don't believe him or you disagree with him or you challenge him on his thoughts, he'll be a detrimental. He won't be a resource for you. He'll be detrimental towards whatever you're trying to pursue. So a person like that shouldn't be in that powerful position, especially working with kids. If you really gonna feel that way, if he's a racist, then just work with white boys. Then work with people of your own kind and get them better and get them right. But the bottom line, the guys he got, the 16 people he got in the NFL, supposedly got in the NFL, I'm pretty sure majority of them are people of color.
Yeah.
So you working with these people of color, you're benefiting financially off of these people of color. You're using them to promote your business, saying that you're a great coach of color to get other color kids in there to help them out. But yet you're calling us niggas behind our back. Calling us monkeys behind our back. You talking about you want to lynch us and all that stuff behind our back. Cancel his ass. Period.
That's it.
Don't. We shouldn't spend not one more red dollar on him. Just like if I was go out there to say something about white boys or something like that was really detrimental, I don't expect white people to come support me in anything. It should. I couldn't be mad if they don't support me in anything. I comment on people I have a personal problem with, whether white, black, green, orange, purple, or red. It don't matter. I'll comment on that, and I'll speak my feelings. And if someone could open my eyes and speak my truth, then that's a different thing. But this dude's out here calling us niggas on the phone, playing like give me a red bone and a white girl.
Yeah. Come on, I mean that's just disrespectful, man. And so about that clip, you can tell that he picked up the phone. He actually didn't talk to anyone in the room service, so he knew he was playing up to whomever was filming him. So again, it was done with intent and purpose. He knew what he was doing, and he was trying to be funny, trying to be whatever the case may be, but there's no laughing matter about this. Jen saying right, he shouldn't be around any kids. Here's an interesting statement that was made here by Corey, though. He says, today's athlete, though, wouldn't tolerate it. But back in the day, it's interesting that he says they had no choice. And I would love to dial deeper into that. Is it because there weren't enough resources back in the day, or we just didn't know how to reach out to talk to the coaches, didn't have coaches that could help with strength and conditioning, things of that nature? And there's only a handful of folks that were in that role. Talk to us, though.
I think Tallboy could attest. I think it's one of the situations, especially when you're about to go to college, that person holds your scholarship. So you got to tolerate it if you want to go to school, right? You got to endure some of those. I had a football coach that he should say he wasn't racist, but he did some racial things that was really, really bad. And I recall one time we're in the airport, right? We're in the airport doing our thing, and I was a little young, of course, but he gonna go in front of all his black players and go get his shoe shined by a guy in the shoe shine place, by an African American male. Like, hold on, man. Like, come on, dog. You know how far we've come, and we're trying to better. And you gonna have this old man shine your shoes in front of us? And man, and that was the old man's trade. And I'm not knocking the man's business, but I felt that back then that was very disrespectful. Plus, his coaches had a history of saying always the inappropriate thing and apologizing afterwards. So you got to tolerate it then, because we were first generation guys getting our college scholarships and so on and so on. Today's athlete don't have to deal with that. They're not first college. There's enough knowledge on the internet. There's enough things you've seen to kind of figure it out and either get that coach kicked off or do whatever you need to do or have those candid conversations. Back then, kind of scared to have those kind of conversations because you legitimately could lose your scholarship or get your minutes cut, not playing or whatever. So you had to endure it and figure to work a way around it. And I got my education and until a boy got his education, everybody got their education. So our kids don't have to go through that, right? So we can avoid these situations or direct our kids how to work around it. Yeah. Back in the day, we had to, but we had to endure. I think coach, and I'm not just saying me. I was just one that said with the coach, but I'm sure there was other situations where they had to endure a lot worse racial situations and keep playing in order to get the scholarship, in order to keep playing the sport they love, in order to keep doing the things they love. You just kind of got to deal with it and try to maneuver around it.
So what happens now? Right? Is this just something that we talk about on a two guys in a coffee shop sports blog podcast, and there's no movement for it, there's no action for it? I looked at the man's Facebook page, I've looked at the man's IG feed, things like that, and look, folks are expressing their dissatisfaction with this. They're expressing how they feel about this. But again, I'm just wondering, should there be some other replications or other types of things that happen directly that affect this man and hit him in his pocket? I mean, maybe put him on the stand for just being an ass himself.
I mean, the thing that can happen is the people that go to him not go to him no more, right? Quit making. I mean, we need to quit making excuses. Oh, he didn't mean it, or he was just joking around. No, he wasn't joking around because he did it on several occasions. Hopefully, the people of Georgia that go to his academy, especially the young people of color, stop going there. That's the way to solve all this. That way that cuts all this out. That cuts that cancer. That makes that cancer have to go a different way, different direction in order to utilize his business. Because it's funny. It's funny, man. Like, this dude has done this. I'm quite sure if there was another coach somewhere else that was doing it, he would be ostracized just as well. If it was a black coach saying the same thing about white athletes, cut him off too. Don't take your athletes to him no more. It's not a cut. This is a situation where you gotta cut him off. Yeah. You gotta do that cancel culture thing in order to cut that off, to cut that kind of behavior off. Now, this is the caveat though. This is the part that disturbs me even more. Because he said he sent 60 athletes to Division I schools. The schools that are dealing with him need to not deal with him anymore. And I'd have a problem with whatever school deals with him.
Good point right there. And before you go on, that's a great point, and that's exactly kind of how I feel kind of the next step should be. Before you go on, though, I do want to recognize we do have Tallboy jumping in the back, so I appreciate him for coming through. Yeah. Tallboy, appreciate you, man. I know you just wrapped up your stream as well, but this is a story and this is some information that you have intimate knowledge about. You are already part of the family, so folks already know who you are. So, man, again, thanks for jumping in. I hate bringing in folks for these types of stories and these types of conversations, but give us some of your insight, man. When you see this, and again, this is probably down the road from you, quite frankly, quite literally down the road, around the corner from you in terms of being in the Atlanta area. But your thoughts when you saw and heard this story?
I think that we tend to. Let me get some clarity on some of this. You said that this gentleman is a coach on the high school level or on the collegiate level?
He's a trainer.
Yeah, he's a trainer, part of the Georgia High School Association, and he runs an organization called Speed Edge Sports. And, his focus and his goal is getting athletes prepared for that next level, for either going to D1 schools or going to that next NFL level.
I know the people that are watching on your show, they're gonna probably say, or probably even disagree with me. I don't necessarily condone what he's saying,
Mm,
but this is the South, and I don't know what it's like on the West Coast. I only had 1 year out there at Cal State Fullerton. Up in Michigan, where I went to finished my high school days, but then when I transferred to the University of New Orleans, and even here in Georgia, there's been some things that's been said, and white folks, they do what they do, and I mean, there's a time and a place, and when you're in those backwoods of Georgia, they talk like this, and for him to say what he was saying about the streets of Atlanta, I couldn't get mad at him saying that because we say the same hillbilly stuff, or we in this hick old town, or I don't want to say certain things on your show to probably ruffle even more feathers, but we say that same language, but we just use it towards, and it's not to say that it's deemed okay, but we do it too. So on the same token, does it make it right that we do it? And even though we're joking, we weren't stupid enough to record ourselves. We didn't hold the phone and say, get me some HOES and, Redbone, but we talk like that.
mm.
So, I mean, even us as African Americans, we talk like that amongst each other. So is it really fair that he gets punished for saying that same language that we're talking like? I mean, we have it in our lyrics of our music. So is that
Yeah,
really fair?
we've talked. Yeah, Montel and I have talked about that a lot too. And there's challenge
So
about
I
that
mean,
as well.
so I think we're shunning him and saying, and I'm not saying that what he did was right, because I mean, my college coach, I mean, there were some things that if I shared well, I'll share it. It is what it is. One of the players was having relations with the coach's daughter and with his wife, and he took it out on me and one of my teammates, and we had nothing to do with it. We had no idea. And some of the things that we were called, some of the things that he did, some of the things that, I mean, he literally physically put hands on one of the guys
Wow.
in practice. There was a time where he challenged me. When I say he took me in the locker room and he said, "You want to fight? Let's fight." Now, if I would have whooped his ass, do you think I would have a scholarship? Do you think I would have had a college degree? So I had to know the difference of, or I had to know when to back off. Now, could I have left and went to went to another school and said, "Hey, this is," but who's going to believe me? Is my word against his? Because we in the locker room. It's nobody else in there. So I mean, it is what it is. This guy just, unfortunately, he said it on camera, and he had that liquid courage in him, or maybe he was completely fine. I mean, who knows? But this happens. So I'm not shocked. Now, back when we played, it's where can we go? Do we have another scholarship place? I had already transferred from another school. So now that I made my bed, I got to almost kind of lie in it, right? Because what else can I do? I made my decision. And when you say coach is tripping, nobody wants to hear coach is tripping. We all hear coach is tripping. Montel, you a coach. How many players have said coach is tripping? Now you're trying to make them to be young men, and you challenge them and they don't like it. So are you really tripping, or are you just making them a better person? So I'm not saying that everything that he did was right. I'm just saying that we talk like that, they talk like that. My dad say I don't deal with HONK. That's the words that my dad says. So for him to say, give me some HOES and some NIG, is it right that he says it? But do you cancel my dad? Do you cancel other black men for calling them those words? So I mean, I think that's that language. I'm not saying it's
So
justified. I'm not saying it's right.
yeah,
But
I hear you. I hear you, Corey. I think you have legitimate points, but I mean, the part where I disagree is that the behavior it shouldn't be acceptable on any letter, even the way the coach treated
that's where I
you.
wanted to go.
It's not.
Right? Should we
I
just
think you're right.
Should we just fold and say, okay, this is how it is? Listen, all my extended family's in Virginia, Hampton, Virginia, Fredericksburg, Richmond, all that old school country folks too. So again, just because things are
But
the way that they have been for
here's
so
my
long,
question.
can't we just go ahead? Because I want to let you, as the guest, come in and actually interject.
I just got a question for you.
Yeah.
He didn't say it in front of any kids, so it's not like he was on the field. He was in his own personal time, and even though he did it on camera, And I know that if the NAACP get a hold of this, they're gonna call for the man's job.
Well, Sean King's got it. So it's gonna turn into whatever that is that he
DL
does.
Hughley
Some
gets
things,
it. But at the same token, like I said, it's not like he did it in front of some kids. He was in his car, in his personal time, in his personal space. Now, was it right that he did it? Like I said, the liquid courage, or it's one thing if he was on the field doing this. Like I said, the things that my college, and I had 2 college coaches at the University of New Orleans, and some of the things that they made me do, it was beyond I don't know how to word it, but it was
be the
beyond
word for the day next week on your show.
The only way I would counter that, Corey, is like, just because he did it behind closed doors doesn't make it right.
Doesn't make it right.
I agree. I agree.
Kelly behind closed doors, what he did doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it right. Just because you did it behind closed doors. And I think anybody has a racial attitude like that, displaying it more than once. It wasn't like it was a joke. He did it one time, or he was like, hey, they caught him on camera several times saying really things that are very detrimental towards black people, especially those are the ones he's working with. So, I mean, that's like us working with somebody, especially in today's culture. I think when we played or when we were in that round, yeah, we had to figure out a way to maneuver around. Today's culture doesn't have to, because they can take corrective action to do something about it, in that way. So I'm saying his behavior and his attitude and his actions and what he was saying, man, we should have to donate. We should have to give our dollars to him, even if we're in the South.
That's how we actually make some statements. That's how we actually make a difference by, again, not patronizing this man, not sending our youth, not sending anyone. If we feel so strongly and if we feel so negatively about his actions and the way that he seems to be treating other folks, we just don't give him our money.
Here's my other question I have for you. Mm-hmm. Has anybody ever gone to any of those? Now that this is aired, I would love to see the kids that he has trained that are Black, Latino, or anybody of color, and ask what do they think of him, because he's been doing this for years, because he's an older man. So maybe somebody's made it to the NBA, the NFL, or Major League Baseball, whatever field that they're, whatever respective. What do the Black or the people of color, the players, what do they think of him? Because no one's never spoke out about this man before until today. And he did it to himself. So it's not like whoever that athlete that's playing on the next level.
That's the most ignorant thing about this, to be honest with you. Yeah, he did it to himself. Because, again, he knew he was being filmed. And that video that I showed of him calling room service, he didn't actually call room service, but he knew that he was on camera, on video, on audio, and all that. He did it to himself. And come on. Again, everyone's got these things in their pocket. Yeah. Two seconds later after shooting I can have it all across the entire planet.
I think having guys from the NFL comment on it and all that, because I believe some of them are going to try to protect him because, hey, that's the guy that helped them push them to that next level. And you're always appreciative of somebody that you benefited from. That's like, those are going to say, hey, that's fine. I'm saying that's still no excuse for his behavior saying that way. Let's say it has nothing to do with his players. Let's say it has something to do with his neighbors. Why should I have to endure somebody with that racial attitude or that feels that way, whatever? What about his granddaughter who's Black, or the person that his daughter's boyfriend or ex-boyfriend or husband that's Black got to deal with this dude saying this stuff? I'm just saying, me personally, I would feel uncomfortable sending my child there or being a part of somebody like that that's going to feel like this when he closes the doors or when I walk out the room, he's calling me the N-word, or he feels that way that I'm the N-word. He ain't judging me on my character. He ain't even judging what I bring it to the table unless I can benefit his pockets. Otherwise, I'm not N-word.
I'm not defending him, but I'm pretty sure if you're a male athlete, Black or white, you have said something similar to what he has said. You just didn't say it on camera. Or even if you did, it's a video that just was not leaked. So my only thing is, where you're basically saying this is, and I agree that he should not have aired it, put it on TikTok, put it on Instagram. I agree that he should not have done that. But my thing is, as a male athlete, we've all said, get us some HOES and get us some red bones, or get us a white girl with a flat booty and some big boobs. And he said, get me a Black one and a white one. You didn't like the context that he said it in, but and I'm not making a justification for what he said in the hotel room, but we've all said it. And as a male athlete, we've all said it. I mean, hell, we had guys that got caught with the girls in the room. And I mean, they ran some stadium stairs.
But because we said
I just wonder when you get to a point.
We know it's wrong, right?
I was going to say, I just think that when you get to a point where your words really matter, when you have something to lose, and when you're supposed to be influential, especially with the youth, right? Because so Montel and I are coming also not just from an athletic perspective, not just from a fan perspective, but we're also coming from a parent perspective, right? And when we got our kids out there with you, and we're dropping them off with you for 5 hours to go through some drills and through coaching, we would expect and anticipate that person is of a higher caliber of character. So
here's another.
So hold on. So that's where I'm also bringing. That's the whole different aspect that I'm bringing in when I see this particular story. And I think I see a lot of folks that are also chiming in saying, yeah, we can talk about it all we want to. We've all said, many of the folks have said these types of things behind the scenes as well. But the best way to affect this gentleman is by just not patronizing his business any further.
And if that's what you choose to do, that's fine. Now, my only other thing is, does he have that same behavior, even though he said it on camera in his personal vehicle, in his personal hotel room? Did he ever display that sign of affection publicly to any of those previous athletes or even the current athletes that he's had?
Don't know yet. Yeah, we don't know nothing about that yet.
Yeah, this is literally hot off the press, right? So we out here trying to break the news, trying to break the internet, and just wanted to have this dialogue. But look, this is not going to go away. I got a feeling, even though you're saying this may be common dialogue, common practice, this particular thing right now, again, with this new world of, again, I got you on camera and I can push this out all over the planet. I got a feeling this is going to have some consequences for this man. And come tomorrow, it's going to be on that screen tomorrow. I got a feeling tomorrow, the CNNs of the world or whomever are going to be talking about this as well, because the repercussions of him making those particular statements, especially the lynching statement about the young girl in the car, that's the one that got me. That's the one that got me right there, right? So you making that statement last week, not 200 years ago. You making that statement last week in Atlanta, in your town, around the corner from. I mean, so I'm feeling a different way for
James,
you and just for that girl as well. Go ahead, Montel.
Another point is just like whoever was filming him and leaked these footages, because I'm sure he didn't put it out there himself, who leaked these footages, was uncomfortable with the situation. So that's why they leaked him.
Yeah,
they wanted to expose him. Let's keep it 100% real. The person that was filming him, that was watching him do all these things, obviously must have been uncomfortable with the statements he were doing, the statements he had, and the things he was saying, because they leaked the footage for it to get out, to expose this man. So someone in the circle was uncomfortable with it.
I agree. Let me challenge you on this.
That right there tells me that he needs to change his behavior. Like I said, I agree. What goes behind closed doors is behind closed doors. It's kind of your own business what you do. I really don't get involved with it. But when it's something like this, that I think this is honest feelings, it's detrimental to some of the people that he's working with. Like I said, if he can benefit off of them, I think he's going all in one, because it helps him.
Okay, can I challenge you on this one?
It's helping the individual. In my opinion, I don't see it, especially with someone that keeps saying statements like that. And like you said, James, that statement about hanging that young lady from the tree, it disturbs me because he has an African American or a biracial child.
Right. I mean, so that's where I'm on one. And Todd, we're gonna let you get into it. But again, that's just that different level of just being pissed off about this. That has us having all this lengthy discussion. We might get into the other stories. I'm gonna let you continue on. But David Hunt, I saw your comment, so I brought it up here on the screen. And thank you, Kevin, for catching up, Mr. Hunt, on the story we're talking about. Go ahead, Tall Boy.
Let me challenge you on this. Look at what happened with Brittany Griner and her caught over in Russia, and Kim Mulkey, the national championship women's coach. She made some very controversial comments about the LGBT community, and she said but she had those players, and I'm pretty sure all those players are not straight. I'm pretty sure there's a few that are LGBT, but they all speak highly of who the coach for LSU is. And I'm pretty sure she said she made her comments public, and no one shunned her. So, I mean, I'm not saying what this man did was right, but he didn't say it in front of any kids. I'm not saying that he should not have said what he said, but it's like, hey, no one's has spoken out against them. Maybe they will tomorrow or over the weekend. They may say, hey, time to put this guy down. They may do that, but they didn't do that to that. And I'm pretty sure the comments that she made at the national championship coach for women's college basketball,
Mm-hmm.
she made some very harsh statements about LGBTQ community. Is that no different from him saying what he just said, but we just glorified this lady and you had her players glorifying her, talking about, I love Coach Mulkey. So what makes this any different from this gentleman here?
I think they both should be accountable for their actions and their words.
I mean, 'cause when you actually think about it, so I mean, again, here I am chiming in as well, and I'll let you go. But we calling them all on the table, right? We not holding any bars.
Now players want to play for Coach Mulkey, so now it's like they want to go to her because they know that she's a proven winner, and she just said, I don't even have to recruit no more because the kids are calling me. I don't even have to go out anymore because everybody wants to play for me now. You didn't want a championship.
And I agree with you to that certain point. Winning masks a lot of problems. Winning masks a lot of problems. And I agree, success masks a lot of problems. I'm here to call, I'm saying, in my opinion, I don't feel it's right. And I remember those comments you said about what she said about the LGBT community, in particular about transgender. She was talking about some of that as well. We're very harsh and very stern, and they kind of swept it under the rug under the media. You're absolutely right. This is just a new one. That's kind of a hotbed on the ticket. I hate to say it, this is the hotbed on the ticket for him saying that. And to me, I'm more passionate about this one a little bit more because I'm in the sport of football, obviously. So that would be my thing, the way he's helping young men. But again, regardless of their actions and regardless of what they're saying, none of it is inexcusable. It shouldn't be. There should be accountability on both ends. Now, am I saying fire the man? You don't have to fire him. But I would say if you're an African American person, I wouldn't spend my money with him. Just like if I had a daughter that was gay, I would have questions to send her to LSU because I know that coach has some kind of biases against people that are gay. You as a consumer have to do your homework on what you're gonna spend your money on or where you want to spend it on.
Go ahead. I like that.
I appreciate them exposing it. I want to know the truth. I'd rather you call me the N-word to my face so I know where we stand instead of pretending like you're my friend and stab me in the damn back because you don't like the pigmentation of my skin or my sexuality. That's where I'm standing with it.
Yeah, I'm tired of us. I'm tired of us just
athletes. So if he called those athletes to their face the N-word, would you? And they still chose to play or work underneath him. Would you have a problem with the athletes?
No,
would you still have a problem
that's your choice now.
That's your choice.
I wouldn't have a problem. That's your choice. I would disagree with it, but that's your choice.
Yeah,
it's fair.
You know. And one beauty of where we live in these 50 states is that we have that choice and have that. So you can be whatever you want to do. You can say whatever you want. You know that realize that there are pros and cons and there's consequences and things of that nature. But again, we're just saying that we want to have this dialogue because I don't think anyone is going to go as deep into this particular dialogue because folks are assuming or being complacent in that it's always been like that, and that can be a problem. Right, that can be a problem. I don't think it needs to continue to be like that. We have to be better. I made some shirts that say we got to do better to be better. Right. I mean, they're really. And I like the statement that you made earlier, Corey. You said, today's athlete is not going to put up with that.
Right.
Today's athlete now. So again, this week, starting today, maybe tomorrow, I think there's going to be some conversation coming out from the athletes, just like you were saying, that he has worked with. It said, man, this dude. 70% of them was cool, right? He showed us how to do certain things, how to run drills, how to prepare and skills. But the content of this man's character is something that I don't want to be around. So again, let's call these types of folks and these types of actions on the carpet as they are. And if you got a child who was going to go to the sports agency and learn how to run a hill and learn how to block and tackle from this man, I would highly suggest you think twice, maybe 3 times before doing it. Corey Tallboy Sanders in the building. What you got to say? You gonna stay with us for a little bit longer, man? Because social impact. We going into it. Come on.
If he's the best in the building, do you stop going to him? I mean, I agree. I think now, in all fairness, I think that there are other coaches that could be just as good as him, but just don't have the name that he has. So, but my thing is, his content of his character has been proven because he's shown that to us. Now, I can't be mad at some of the comments that he just said on the video. Do I agree with all of them? No. But some of the comments that he said, Atlanta is not what Atlanta used to be, and it's
Yeah, I
kind
can't
of
speak to
somewhat
that. Yeah.
it's somewhat embarrassing. So everything that he said is like, he's got some valid points. Now, you may not like his delivery and how he said it, but I mean, he was telling the truth, and it's like, but at the same token, I think he may have pushed his comments a little too far. And so it's like, but once again,
That's fair. That's
like
fair.
I talk like that about others,
Mhm.
and we can joke offline, and hopefully no one's recording me, because you never know. Somebody might say, well, dang, I ain't know Tall Boy felt that way. You'll never hear me say it, but I mean,
Mhm.
or hopefully it never go out. But if somebody wants to get you, you know, we
No,
live in
I
that
think
culture. We live in that culture
I,
where the cameras out there now.
Yeah.
no, and I think you're right, Top Boy. I think, like I said, if you saying some stuff in a joking manner and behind you doing it behind closed doors, and we all have opinions, different opinions that we can't express on camera, that we have personally, that we take it off camera. I agree with that 100%. But him, I think consciously knew he was saying those things. I don't think he meant them to leak. I'll be honest with you. I don't think he meant for somebody to
I think he
push it out
did.
there for him and expose it. Just like
The way
nobody
he
else expects to be pushed out there and
the way
exposed.
he looked on camera when he picked up the phone and said, "Give me two, you know what?"
Yeah.
and I want to
Listen,
that looked like that was
I'm
that looked like that was very intentional. But I mean, you can't say if you've been a
Well,
former
no,
athlete.
I'm not saying he's not intentionally being filmed. I don't think he meant intentionally to go out to the world, the TikTok and all that. I don't think he meant for
yeah.
it to go.
And maybe he didn't. Maybe he didn't understand the power of social media and the fact that
Yeah,
in 2
maybe
minutes
so.
after he said it, I'm sending
You
it
know,
to
like I
both.
said, I
I'm
think
sending
that
it to
in
both of
people in certain
y'all, right?
positions,
And
you
like,
have to. We already know when you're in a certain position, you have to watch your tongue, right? You have to make sure you're careful what you say. He's
yeah,
in a personal position where he works with African American young males. He does those things, so you got to watch what you say. Period.
yeah.
Just like the coach of LSU, she needed to watch her mouth when she said period. And I'm quite sure we may not have said. I hope LSU athletic department addressed what she said and
They
clarified it or did something. Maybe not. I don't know. I said I hope they
she a
did.
national champion. Anything that
So she
she
gonna
done
get
brought a championship. She done brought
she
a
gonna get a
championship
pass.
to them folks in 2 years.
Yeah.
She can do it. She is gonna be treated like, and I'm telling you about Louisiana culture.
Mm.
If you do something to make that city or that state proud,
Mhm.
Baton Rouge, or I mean, look at Boosie. Boosie does a lot. Boosie Badass does a lot of crazy stuff, but he done made Baton Rouge proud.
Yep.
Kevin Gates
That's
done
true.
said a
That's
lot
true.
of stuff, and he done made. They just gave Kevin Gates the key to the city. Now, if you listen to any of Kevin Gates' lyrics, so for
Yep.
Kim Mulkey to bring a national championship, black or white, they done gave this rapper the key to the city last week, and then this woman then won a national championship, and she got ties with the governor. Oh yeah, she can say and do whatever she want to do, as long as she don't shoot nobody,
again,
or she don't
say
do no
what you
domestic
want.
violence.
You're saying what's accepted? I'm saying what I feel was right. What she said wasn't right. Is it accepted? Yes. It's accepted as culture. I think what he did on
There's
camera
so many
was
different
not right.
avenues that we can go
There's
into
so many
this,
angles
man.
you can look at this. Yeah,
Man, listen.
Yeah.
Okay,
Devil's
folks.
advocate.
Okay.
Yes,
let's
absolutely.
do this. Let me reel it back here, man. And first and foremost, say, Tallboy, appreciate you for coming on and being vulnerable and having some in-depth conversation and talking about things that you've experienced, right? And things that, again, you experience in your world, past, present, future, and things of that nature. You are always willing to stay. You can stay if you want to. We got a couple more stories to get into. They less dramatic as this one. And listen, we're not here to try to solve this issue, solve this problem. We are here to bring it
have
up,
the conversation, yeah,
and have that conversation. It gets awkward, but
as long
at
as you
the
don't
end,
shut down again, I'm here.
I was
you posting pictures
This
on the
boy got
internet,
jokes.
so I mean, I got you.
this boy, I was literally trying to do way too much at one particular time, and I was already kind of in my feelings. So I'm not gonna do that again. Yeah, we not shutting down no more. So yeah. Montel, you got anything you want to say before we move on to this next story?
No, we good. I'm
I
glad
think we
Tallboy
didn't
was on, man. I
drain
miss you,
this
man. I
one
ain't
here.
talked to you in a minute, dog.
Yeah, let's see. I want to make sure I get Mama in here so I don't get in trouble. What she was saying as a
I'ma give you a
parent, how
different
could you
perspective.
consciously expose your child to this? I completely agree. Cheryl saying, don't press the button on your cell phone. um,
I think he was recording some of it himself. I don't think nobody was in
probably.
it. I think
Might have
he
been.
had it on selfie mode, had that thing propped up in his car, and it was like, hey, it is what it is. Look at these fools out here. Look at this Wakanda over here. This he was on Peachtree Street. Dude,
Well,
have you been
every
on
street in
Peachtree?
Atlanta is called Peachtree.
Have
So
you
you
been
can't
on
say
Peachtree Street lately? I don't want to go on Peachtree Street no
is that
more.
that's
So
not where that club that you took me? Well, okay, hold on.
no, I took you on the east side.
Shouts out to the east side of Atlanta. Man, we was out there in them streets. But I digress, and we gonna continue on. Dad said before I move on, appreciate your willingness to share concerns of this nature. Motivated Mind is in the building. This band right here. I think how we respond to these issues sadly reveal the true priorities of our culture. Man, right here, we need to get him on the show as well. Appreciate you for being here, brother. So let's go ahead and move on to another story. Doughboy, you gonna hang out with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
You ain't got nothing else to do. You know, you just sitting there
about to go
editing
to
video.
bed, baby. Let's
I
do
know
it.
you
Let's
was
come on.
just gonna sit there and edit some video or something probably. You ain't got nothing to do. We're gonna stay in basketball though.
Okay.
So we're gonna talk about an unfortunate situation again with an individual that we've talked about in the past. And listen, Ben Gordon. Ben Gordon has gone through some things. Last time we talked about him, he was in the airport with his son, and he was abusing, hitting, slapping, punching his son. I think his son was 10 or 11 years old at the particular time because he was reading a book and he dropped a book or something on the floor. That was the story. Now we got Ben Gordon coming up on weapons charges, right? Arrested for behaving erratically. Where in a Connecticut juice shop this Tuesday. So had a weapon on him. He's not supposed to have a weapon on him. But again, worried about Ben Gordon just for the fact that, again, just so many situations are coming up and they're getting progressively worse in terms of what they could lead to. So this is a second degree charge for having a weapon. Your thoughts on this? We'll go with the guest first. I keep wanting to call you by your government name. Sometimes I'll call you by Corey. Sometimes just, don't get mad at me.
Today, but after this show is over with, we're gonna have a real conversation about the government being said over these internet streets.
I'm gonna call you what your mama named you, right? His mama named him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay. So okay. Talk to us about what you think about this Ben Gordon again, because there's been unfortunately a consistent stream of issues with him in terms of being in trouble.
I'm playing devil's advocate on this now. Unless he's on probation and he's not supposed to have the weapon or he's not supposed to have the gun. I mean, like I said, I live in the South. So, I mean, you're allowed the last I heard, the NRA has nothing against you holding a weapon. Now, did he use the weapon on somebody? Did he beat somebody with the weapon? What's the problem with him having a weapon on him? Now,
so why do you need a stun gun and why do you need brass knuckles in your backpack?
So you're beating the man up for having
at a juice shop. Why do you need a stun gun, brass knuckles when you go in to get a chai latte or a juice?
He's not going in there to go rob him. So apparently some words were said. Maybe he didn't want to be bothered and they recognized who he was. And, they didn't call the police because he didn't say something. The police probably said, can I search your bag or search your persons? And they found this stuff. And then when they found out who he was, then that's when it probably escalated to the level that it is. That's the way I look at it.
I don't care.
I was just looking up Ben Gordon's situation about the whole thing. So
now if he's on probation, that's different. Because you're not supposed to have
that. He just got he was with the child with his child thing. He had his child that he hit him. He struck him in the airport. Then he kidnapped his child, took him on a plane when he wasn't supposed to. Then he got arrested at McDonald's.
Hold on. In the words of Tammy Chambers, you taking my child? Go ahead. You can have that badass kid.
I'm just listening to what he had so far. So
crazy,
bear with me real quick. So he had the incident with his son in the
Chambers.
airport.
Love me some Tammy Chambers.
he took his son on the airplane unwillfully without the permission of the mother, supposedly, or whatever. Then he got arrested at McDonald's for beating up the security guard and threatening them. And then he had a knife at a juice shop that he was threatening somebody to stab him with a knife. Now he has this situation in Connecticut.
Yeah. So again,
So
progressively just getting to a point where something gonna snap, somebody gonna roll up on
yeah,
him, and innocent bystander gonna want to take a picture with him because he Ben Gordon, right? Played in the league, and he's gonna have a shank on him or whatever. I just worry about again the progression of this. Go ahead, Montel.
but you're right. It's getting worse. It's going from battery to taking his child away. Well, I don't know what you call that one. I don't think that's not kidnapping, but whatever. He took his child away. Then it went from battery again on the McDonald's guy. Then he went to tote the knife in the juice shop. Now he has a gun. My situation, like you said, is progressively getting worse in the situation. And maybe you're right, Tall Boy. Maybe he needs to have a gun to protect himself or whatever. Because I do agree that they get approached several different ways. But he obviously having something going on. There's some issues that's going on with him that he's the person that I would hope they would do a screening before they gave him a gun. Right? They would do the background check and screening before he gets a gun because he's going through some things, and this has all happened within the last 6 months. All this stuff, so something really going on. I don't know what it is. I don't condone violence. I condone protecting yourself, and I know he's a high-profile athlete, but man, I mean, you can't tell me this. To me, this raises a red flag. Period.
James, before I say anything.
Okay, hold on. Let me get my. Okay, I got my
go
beeps
ahead,
and
brother.
all. I can get all my sensor beeps and everything. Oh Lord, floor is yours, partner. Speak the truth, man. Again, this is a safe space.
I honestly think that he needs to probably either go to a bigger city, or he needs to go out the country, or he needs to be like these other celebrities and they have security whenever he goes out, if he chooses to be there. Mm-hmm. And I'm not trying to be funny and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but if you go back and you listen to some of the things that you said or the allegations that has happened to him, how do I word this in the nicest way possible? He is a professional athlete or former professional athlete. And so somebody probably said something funky to him at McDonald's, and he probably said, "I'm gonna whoop your ass." That's probably what he said. And now they didn't felt threatened, so they didn't call you. Didn't bucked up at a black man, so a black man's gonna probably buck back up at you. So let's just call that what it is. He's towering. So the security guard was probably 5'11", and he felt threatened for his life, and they looked at that as a payday. You said that,
Gotcha.
man. You said that the boy didn't beat his son with the book. Now, my parents have knocked me out for lesser things because, boy, you ain't got that right. And somebody probably was concerned and said, "I'm concerned for this boy at the airport." Just be honest, because our parents have all knocked us upside our head for doing something crazy, but because it was him, I'm pretty sure they probably elevated that situation to another level. You said that he kidnapped his son. How do you kidnap your son? You don't kidnap your son.
That one I don't know. That one I can't call.
That one. So basically, the baby mama is looking at it as, you took my son out of the state without my permission. You should be happy that he take it. The man trying to spend quality time with his son, and you're making a big deal out of this. And now the courts now have gotten involved, and now that's another situation. Now you're talking about a gun situation that he had. Now, the best thing for him to do, I've met Kanye.
Well, don't forget the knife situation at the juice bar, though. That happened first.
I don't know about the knife situation. So you got to give me you got to give me the details on that. But let's talk about the gun situation. So he needs to probably be like some of these rappers who have security guards. LeBron comes in with security. You're in Connecticut. You're not in Atlanta. You're not in Miami. You're not in LA. You're not in Houston or Chicago. You're not in one of these cities. You're in a small town. So we don't know how I don't think he walked into a juice bar pulling out a gun out of his bag or some brass knuckles out of his bag. I'm pretty sure
with the intent of causing an uproar. I can.
That's
agree
all
with
I'm
that.
saying.
We're making a lot of assumptions here, but I agree with you on that. He probably didn't walk up in there.
So something was said to where he didn't probably bucked up at somebody, because I've worked in retail and I'm 7 feet tall. And I knew a certain athlete or a certain celebrity who was bucked up at me because I told them I needed their ID because that was proper protocol. And I'm like, look, bro, we're not about to do this. This is proper protocol. So because this is proper protocol, I need this. I don't care if I know you personally because that's my job on the line. So now you done
if I'm gonna
said
cash
something
this
from
check, I'm gonna need to see your ID. You know,
yeah.
if you're gonna get these
So
shoes and this tie, I'm thinking back to my
right.
old days at Oak Tree. Okay, yeah,
Right. So now you didn't said something funky to him. You didn't call the police, or the police was around. They asked him questions. I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
yeah.
So I mean, I think we're reading the story, and I think we're reading too much into it. So I think at the end of the day, when all of this happens, it's like, okay, he's a professional athlete, so everything he does is gonna be heightened in the town of Connecticut, whatever city he is in Connecticut. So if he was in Atlanta, this would be no news. If he was in LA, this would be no news. If he was in a major city, this would be no news.
Okay.
So how is this even a problem, or how is this even a story, other than they're looking for the news writers or the news station is looking for a story to lead at channel 5, 6, or 11 p.m. at night,
Yeah.
or front page of the news. What are you looking for?
So let's dive into this. And Montel must have unplugged his camera. Hopefully he come back, or
He
maybe
didn't charge it.
that's what it is. I wasn't gonna put him on blast like that, but hopefully
I am.
plug your cable in, man. You know, we go through the run the show every week, man. Make sure you plugged in. Think about it though. We're making a lot of assumptions here as well, right? We only know what we know Monday morning quarterback, and we're hearing what's being presented by the New York Post or wherever the case may be. My avenue for reporting and talking about this is that we've had 3 or 4 other stories about Ben Gordon in a very short period of time, and more concern for the man and the fact that he seems to be doing things that are on a trajectory of possibly getting worse. And I really, not trying to get into his business, don't know what's going on between him and the mother of his child and any things of that nature. But again, we talk about, now he's carrying knives, now he's carrying stun guns, now he's carrying brass knuckles, he's hitting folks. I just want to make sure that just from a mental, physical, spiritual, financial, all those kinds of things, that the man is well taken care of. And again, he seems to be on a trajectory, since he's no longer in the league now, of being actually having either people around him or just kind of like you said, maybe he needs to be in a bigger city where he's actually got some folks that are taking care of. That circle isn't around him, and he's just getting out there and he's wilding out and he's doing whatever. That's where I come in with the story. Just want to make sure that the man as a person, as a whole, is taken care of and doesn't go off of onto another tangent and do something even worse that may end up harming himself or harming folks around him. That's where I'm coming. That's why we're talking about this story right now. Now that Montel's plugged his camera back in, or maybe, you know, when we get into these deep stories, maybe the police, did they come get you? Because we've had some situations where we've gotten into some conversations.
It kicked me off, and then I tried to get back in. It kept telling me that it couldn't find it, so I had to just reload it.
Yeah, see that? There it is. Man, listen, when we get into these conversations, Tallboy, now you know. FBI be looking for us, man. Police be looking for us. Go ahead, Montel. Chime in, brother, before we move to this next last story.
Yeah. I just think, obviously there's something, to me, there's something wrong with Gordon. I agree with Tallboy. When he goes up, he needs to have some type of person with him to help, diffuse these situations. Because this is all happening too fast, too much, too going on. And I know, Tallboy, you're talking about the situation with his son. At least reportedly, he was punching his 10-year-old son with a closed fist. That's not normal behavior. My mom then was popped me in the head too for doing something, but she ain't never, or my father ain't never put a closed fist and punched me in the face at the age of 10 years old. I think that's a tall sign right there. The part of the situation, like you said, with him kidnapping his son, I'm not sure what that's all about. That's got to be a battle custody issue between him and his ex going through. But fighting the dude in McDonald's, McDonald's, or beefing with the security guard at McDonald's, I don't know what that situation's about. You may be right. Somebody might be clout chasing, trying to get paid off of that. But the fact of the situation, I would expect a person of his magnitude, being a guy that's been in the NBA, that he can kind of walk away, or really just be like, I'm not dealing with this McDonald's. I'm out fighting with somebody at McDonald's, or even arguing with somebody at McDonald's. Now, the last one, toting a knife and a juice board, that's showing me right now the patterns continuing now with the gun charges. It's something there. And now this may be the situation where, just like I said, I don't really like to talk about mental health, because I think some people use that as an scapegoat for their actions. But I think obviously there's something going on with Ben Gordon causing this erratic behavior. And I think I would hope somebody before he gets to the jail part or the court part would intervene and help this young man. help him out, figure out what's going on, what's his disturbing behavior, because this is not the normal behavior of a 39-year-old millionaire. It's just not.
Yeah,
So hopefully someone can help him out.
I agree. I agree. I agree
Or
with
it's
that.
going to go where it's going to be the jail system is going to help him out, because eventually
Well,
he's
see,
going to go to jail.
that's why we're talking about this, right? And we see, and I'm gonna pause you just for a second, because your signal is coming in. Like, I think you want Boost Mobile or something. You want. I'm not sure what's
Always
carrier.
clowning, man.
I'm not sure what carrier you want right now, right? But so again, that's the statement that we're trying to make. You know, we're trying to have preemptive conversations, and again, we've talked about it before on this show, that you got to have the right people around you. You got to have that support system around you. I mean, there's got to be someone who's watching the bag, right? The John Morant thing, watching to make sure that, hey, man, hey, Tallboy, you don't need to be in these type of situations. You don't need to be walking into the juice bar with a stun gun and with brass knuckles and let me go get your juice for you, right? Those kinds of things, or let me make sure that you are around the right, more positive folks. Again, we can only assume. We can Monday morning quarterback all this. We don't know what's going on. But at the end of the day, I would just say this, that we're looking for peace in the man, because there's been just so many things going on. I want to bring up two comments before we move on to the next story here. Walter Strong is saying, could it be possible that the reason that he's had a major story is because Ben is a former college player at the University of Connecticut? I brought that up, and Tallboy, I'd like you to answer that, man.
Have you ever seen college athletes or NBA or professional sports athletes in the public? If you do, do you see them by themselves? You rarely do. You only see them like going to the gym. You might see them in a drive-through, but you don't never see them just walking the streets or going whatever. Now, the airport you can't miss, right? But you don't see athletes, and that's one thing that I noticed here in Atlanta. As big as Atlanta is, all the big egos and figures that you have, they come through the back doors, they go through the tunnels, they come through the basement and come up the steps. They don't walk through the front door. They don't go through the VIP. When you get to a certain level, you just don't be out in public. And unfortunately, he's in Connecticut, like Walter said, and you just don't go out. And so considering that he's in Connecticut, they're not getting outside of ESPN and University of Connecticut. There's nothing else going on up there. So this is a story for them. But if this was Miami or any other major city, and all he needs to do, to be honest with you, he just probably needs to just tap into another city or hire his own security. And it's unfortunate that he has to be a prisoner in his own home. But when you think about it, a lot of these athletes, when you think about it, they go get their mansions in the nice neighborhoods, and you rarely see them come out and they bring their own entertainment. They rent out the venue, and it's a private party, and you never knew that it existed because they check your phones at the door, and whatever happened, and you'll never be like the last story that we just had, because
you
there's
literally
there's
signed
no
an
proof.
NDA saying that, non-disclosure, that, whatever it is, and that is that world, right? I've been to a couple of those spots and had to sign, so I know it. And what Tallboy is saying
You
is
lost
true.
your privileges as an athlete. You lost
Yeah.
your privileges of an athlete of going out to McDonald's or going to a juice bar.
Man.
You lost the
I
moment
can't go
you
to the
became
Burger
a
King no more.
millionaire. You lost your privileges of being able to walk into a store because somebody's gonna. Even me, I'm 7 feet tall, and every time I walk out, how tall are you? You got to play basketball, and everybody says I got a funky attitude. I really don't. But if you always asking me how tall I am,
don't let me answer that. Okay.
If you always asking me, eventually I'm gonna get tired of you asking me how tall. I'm taller than you. Oh no, how tall are you really? Oh, and then you finally tell them, well, I thought so. After a while, after about like the 30,000th time of somebody saying that, you just because you knew and you never met me, you don't know how my day is going. So for now, you didn't call the police, and I'm just putting you in a real world situation of somebody that's been there.
No,
So
hey, and I've been next to you when that situation has happened a number of times. So you telling the truth. I've been standing next to the man. I've been the man standing next to the man. So I've seen you go through that. So yeah.
So all I'm just saying is, I just think he's in the wrong city. I think if he chooses to stay, then he needs to hire his own security and understand that, hey, you just can't go in and you may have to be labeled as that, that butthole because you're not talking to people. You're here for the mission of whatever it is that you came and you're out. So, and it's
Wow.
no different from Ja Morant. He can't do anything in public no more because of all the stuff. And there's, that's another story, but he can't go out and do the things that he wants to do. And unfortunately with him, and this is Ja, not Ben, he was bringing the entertainment to his house and it got out of hand and,
Mhm.
people sued him even in his own house. So, I
Mhm.
mean,
Yeah.
it's unfortunate, but that's just the times that's the bad side and the downside of being a professional athlete. And
That's
people
true.
don't see that side. They just
That's
hear
true.
the bad story of the police was called and they had this weapon and they wanted to elevate it. That's what you see, but you have to put yourself in the athlete's shoes.
Yeah. David Hunt over here causing trouble. He asking questions. How tall are you? Just clown. I'm not. We're not gonna do that. But
This guy.
David Hunt gonna start some
I don't
smoke
even
up in
have
here.
my sound.
I
Can I
no,
play that
don't
sound effect that I did
don't put him
last
out
week?
there on blast. I do want to put one comment up before we move on because Motivated Mind is in the building, y'all. Oftentimes, the turbulence we create in our life has something to do with us. Unresolved trauma at work. Ben's probably just playing out the dysfunctional script he was given in his childhood. That can be a whole nother. See, I know you're shaking your head, but again, we can sit here Monday morning quarterback. We can assume we don't know all the stories, but that's a very interesting context that was put there. That may be something, Montel, for us to go with the
But that goes back to
what we
Shirley.
calling it again? What we calling it again? The wake up show? No, the after show. What we calling that?
Oh yeah, it was called the wake up. The
The
wake up.
wake. Yeah.
They
So
call it the
that
wake up
may.
show. We
Oh yeah,
can't
we
bite.
can't do that because we'll get in trouble with
Sway.
Sway. Yeah, we can't do that.
Yeah.
But we want to have a premium offering of Team No Sleep afterwards, where we go kind of 201, 301, more deeper into some of these conversations. So Motivated Minds, I'm gonna hold that, and when we spin that up, that's gonna definitely be a piece of the conversation.
But
I'm
that
not
goes
gonna
back.
leave you hanging, Todd. Well, you had something on your mind as I was reading that before I bring up this other story. Go ahead and say what you
That
got to
goes
say.
back. That goes back to Shirley P saying maybe he needs counseling, and it's like, well, we all need counseling, but because he's an athlete and he's a millionaire, he's got to have counseling now. Maybe to the brother's statement is like he's a millionaire and now we're all forming our opinion on him and we don't even really know the man. We just know that he was tempted and somebody said something and somehow it got escalated to where the police came and now he's being punished to where he now either A, needs counseling, B, he should have never had this in his possession, or C, what was he thinking? Where was his protection? Outside of him having it on his persons, he should have had the security guards or somebody else watching over him.
Yeah. Tell you what, Montel, I'm gonna hold the Anthony Lamb story for a week
Okay.
because I want to get some more context on that. I kind of want to leave with a less traumatic. Well, it's traumatic for me, but I'm gonna leave on a less traumatic note. My goodness, because we went into it. Everything from the stream crashing, me trying to do too much, and then we talking about Coach saying whatever he got to say. Love the comments, love the engagement, love that piece is there. Thank you for everyone coming back to the stream while we were doing it. David Hunt in the building causing trouble, but well, see, this man right here, he got to get some sleep. I'll tell you why. I'm gonna put him on blast because at 4:00 my time, he gets online and he's playing the piano, beautiful music. Listen, David Hunt, y'all need to subscribe to his channel. Go ahead and put your stream in the comment there. I try to log on once in a while, but the man is playing this beautiful music on his piano at 4:00 in the morning. I can't help me to help me, right? I'm on the West Coast. I'm trying to catch what you're doing.
You need to
man,
move to the South. You need to move to the East Coast. That's what that is.
See, because it's 7:00 his time,
It's
but
7
it's
o'clock.
4:00 my time, and I wanna fellowship with him, but
Or you need to just come on the East Coast at least once every 90 days. That's it.
my wife, my daughter will be there next week. I'll be there in
You need to
October.
yeah, so you just once a quarter. That's 4 times a year. You got to
Okay.
hey, look, I got a couch for you. I got a floor for you. I got something for you.
I bet you do. You probably gonna put me to work, right? So yeah, me and Montel come to Atlanta. You're gonna put us to work. We can be moving lights and couches and stuff like that. All right, let's get into this, man. Where my golf folks at? Who remembers the Nike commercials, I am Tiger Woods. Man, talk to me about that. Y'all remember Tiger when he was above the mountain, not even on top of the mountain, was just above the mountain? Let me ask your thoughts on Tiger Woods now. Let me start with you, Montel. Then we'll go to
iconic figure, but with his injuries and everything going, man, his game is just not there no more. You know, it's not there. It's not. I mean, he was being competitive. Don't get me wrong in the Masters, but his health obviously is deteriorating, and we all hate to see the GOATs go, right? We hated to see Muhammad Ali go the way he did. We hated to see Michael Jordan go out the way he did. We're gonna hate to see Tiger go out, but I think it's time for him to walk away from the game, in my opinion. And it's not because he can't play. It's just because I don't think his health can take it anymore. You know, it just can't. It can't withstand what's going on. And the man is iconic. He's the greatest to ever do it, in my opinion. He is the symbolizer of golf. He indoctrinized African Americans to playing golf.
True.
I know we had the guys before him, a couple of guys before, but nothing like how Tiger impacted, you know, the golf game. You know, I salute him, man. I mean, he was the greatest to ever to hit that club, man. Yeah. I can't do it very well, so all I can do is marvel on what he does, man. The dude was great.
Talk your thoughts on this man, right? I mean, I know you watched the commercial. You know the mentality of a professional athlete. You know the competitive spirit. Your thoughts on where he is now. So he had to withdraw. If you weren't watching the story, you know the Masters were last week, and if you were playing on Sunday, obviously that means you made the cut. Tiger was playing on Sunday. He had his stuff on. Well, he didn't have his typical stuff on, but you know his red and all. But your thoughts on the legacy of Tiger Woods and where you think he may be today, and did it impact or affect you in any way, being an athlete as well?
Tiger is athlete. Point blank, period. There's only a few that can say that name. You say Tom Brady, you say Kobe, you say Jordan, you say Muhammad Ali, you say Venus and Serena. Tiger is athlete, especially for the Black community. He is the culture for golf for the Black community. Unfortunately, we live in a society where we as athletes, we love the attention, we love the stardom, and we don't know how to let it go. And it's sad because you want to be remembered of your days of you being great. And unfortunately, there's got to be a time that has a start point and an end point. And hopefully the athlete is smart enough to know when the end point is without having to worry about embarrassing themselves or coming to an end, because the media builds you up and they tear you down. That's what the media, that's their job. Build you up, tear you down. And very few get a chance to go out on top, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But for the legacy of Tiger, he made brothers want to watch, because I remember I was told at a very young age, go get out there on the green and your whole career and your whole life will change.
Yeah.
I tried it one time and I said, this is not for me. But the best business deals have been closed where? On the green. And the only reason why people watch golf in the Black community is because of that man that we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, he had to pull out, and I don't think it hurts him. I don't think it tarnishes him for us as a culture. But I think, you know, America is sad to see a guy, they don't want him to go. It's like it's like Tom Brady still asking for one more year. It's like, bro, you gotta go. It's time to go, bro. Like it's that time.
Yeah. Well, listen. Look, I've got the video playing right now, and when we see him walking like this, we know that this is real. We know that this is probably at that demise, at that last date. And come to find out, what happened was one of the screws in his leg came through his skin.
Mm-hmm.
So he has to go back and have, again, additional reconstructive surgery on that leg of his. And that, you know, that's what we see him just trying to walk from one hole to another right there. And that hurts to see, right? Because again, the man again was the definition of competitiveness, a winner, all those things. And like Kevin Cox said, yeah, he's got some demons in his closet and all, but so many of us wanted to be Tiger. Go ahead, man.
But why do you feel as if, not you or Montel, but I'm just saying as in Tiger, why did you feel as if you had to be at this Masters? You're not 100% healthy. Why? I mean, you could have came back next year. You could have skipped a year, and then made sure everything was 100%. You're probably about 75, 80%. You're probably 65%, and you're still trying to get out. And he was still beating cats. So, I mean, that lets you know how good. That lets you know how good he really is with a screw coming out of his body, and he's still giving you numbers. So,
yeah,
that's like Kobe going up there and hitting them last 2 free throws when he tore his ACL. Right. That's some rare air type of folks that can do that kind of thing. So.
Right.
But I think like I think we keep quoting him every week, Chris Rock. We are addicted to attention. We're addicted to attention, including and superstars are addicted to attention more than we can imagine because they have to have that attention. And I think he felt. But I think he felt even going out there the way he felt, even unhealthy, that he had an opportunity. And that the spotlight's going to be on Tiger no matter where he goes. They love that attention. But Tiger is deteriorating before our eyes, unfortunately. From right before the car accident, he had the knee surgery and all that stuff. Then he had the back problems. Then he had the car accident. Then he had the car accident did all those surgeries. His body just can't take it anymore. And like you said, Tall Boy, everybody wants to go out on top. Unfortunately, there's only a few that can do it. There's only a few that can walk away. Peyton Manning walked away on top, won the Super Bowl. And Serena probably is the next closest thing. She walked away, qualifying where she did in whatever the tennis match she was in. But you can't walk away on. Everybody can't walk away on top. And as great as he is, man, his legacy will never be tarnished. And I don't agree with Kevin Cox saying he has demons. I mean, he had infidelity. So does 90% of the population. That's not a demon. He's just a man that was in the spotlight that didn't know how to manage a marriage at that time. That's it. That's all. That's all it was. And he paid for it by giving her all that money. So I think that he's lived probably, I mean, at least from the media standpoint, what we've seen, he's done everything right. He has done everything right. And I think he's I think he's probably the greatest to ever, get on that green and hit that ball. And I don't think they'll ever. Right now, he's trend setting. There won't be another one until hopefully the next one comes along. Yeah. But we know we don't see nobody right now coming up like that. There's not an up and coming.
I want Tiger to win one more.
I don't think he got it in him, man. I think he needs to just
there you go, blasphemy again.
No, I just think he needs to take care of himself. I mean, what else? He doesn't have to prove himself by winning another one. He doesn't have to prove himself.
Well, fanatics, short of fanatics, we want him to go out with one more. Do it one more again for us. We're not worried about you, Tiger.
Hey, nobody's going out like that.
Rubber testing on that leg. You be. I'm sorry, I should have said that.
No one's going out like Kobe Bryant did. I mean, that was the greatest go out that I ever seen. I witnessed personally. Yeah. The way he did. And I think Tiger just needs to take care of himself, man. I think now it's time to just, bow gracefully, hopefully get the commentating and do his thing that way if he wants to still be in the spotlight, or walk away fine, because his legacy is embedded. It's there. He's a Hall of Famer and beyond in the world of golf.
Tiger is a unique. I'm putting this comment up here because Kevin was responding to your statement about the demons here. He's also about the painkillers and the alcohol issues behind closed doors while coming back from back surgery. So, yeah, he's got things to deal with, and hopefully Tony just put it up perfectly. Focuses on his son, right? I mean, focus on his son, focus on his legacy, focus on going out on as much on top as he can, right? So, yeah,
I say focus on health.
Yeah,
that's it. Focus on his health. That's it. Yeah, everything else is good, I think, in my opinion. Go ahead. I thought about you was gonna say something.
We celebrate athlete, and we look at it, and even looking at these comments, we celebrate athlete to where they can't do no wrong. They can't have weapons. They can't put their hands on women. They can't do drugs. They can't get a speeding ticket. They can't do anything wrong because we're gonna elevate it and magnify it to magnify it times 10. And these are things that we as everyday citizens, whether it's right or wrong, whether you know better or you do or you don't care. At the end of the day, we magnify athlete too much. And unfortunately, when you're the great of the greats, or you're just a mediocre professional athlete, you were great in college. So you're still going to be, look at Ben Gordon on the last story. He was a star in Chicago, but he was a superstar at UConn. Where did he gravitate himself back to? Where
That's a good point.
Where did Tiger say, this is it? Like he ended it on the green. It may not be his last time, but he's on the green. And unfortunately, we're seeing him in his, people are calling it maybe his demise of him, with this gruesome this gruesome injury. But he, like you said, you want to be seen in the spotlight. So I'm just giving you a perspective from a former athlete's perspective. It's not to say that any of this is right, but everything that they do is magnified times 10. And if you do anything wrong, it's going to be in the news. And once again, the news, when you do right or you do good, you're going to be magnified. Oh, you won this. But then the second you do something wrong, you're going to be shunned in the media. And unfortunately, we're going to come up and have these conversations that we're having right now on Team No Sleep. And it could be deemed good, it could be deemed bad, but the thing is, as an athlete, no one has ever taught them when to say when.
Wow.
No one's never taught them. When I walked away, and I think we've mentioned this before, when I walked away cold turkey, my family literally disowned me because, oh, you're not playing no more? You don't want to play no more? Figure it out on your own. I walked away, and I felt like I walked away on top. I didn't have no bad knees. I ain't had no bad legs, no bad feet. I didn't want that pain. I just felt like I didn't want to do those 3-a-days anymore. So I wanted to walk away on top. I didn't want to walk away saying, oh, I busted this up. We ain't had that problem. How many athletes have said that this is what they wanted to do? And to see Tiger at this state, we're having this conversation because he does not know when to say when.
It's powerful. Appreciate that. Let me bring this comment up. Motivated Minds. Listen, first of all, Motivated Minds, we need to get you on the stream, man. So reach out, brother. Hit me up in the DM because we're going to get you on here. Tiger is unique in all that he's carried on his shoulders. A super athlete. Reminds me of Jesse Owens. I see him as so much more than an athlete because of the burden he played with for so long. I mean, again, that's another piece of the conversation that we can go on to. And I saw Shopee talking about why do we magnify athletes in this way? Kind of in response to you too. We don't necessarily have to go into it right now, but I would love to go off.
That's a panel discussion,
right? And have that conversation as well, because that really talks to the culture. That talks to us why we even have this show, right? Talking about social impact of sport, and why again our youth are always looking at athletes, and we raise them, we make them our role models. We pretend that everything that they say is right and accurate and things like that. And our kids want to be like them, but we got to have them checks and balances in place. And I think that's really what we're trying to do.
Pull up Tony Davis's comment. Athletes' actions are above the president of the United States. That's deep.
Look, TD knows. TD played, so he knows the things as well, right? He was out there on the field too. He knows these types of things. He lived with those expectations.
We don't care. And the funny thing about it is there's so many jobs behind the scenes of the rapper, the entertainer, the influencer, and the athlete. There's so many cool jobs that you can have. And anybody that watches this replay, just know that there's so many more jobs that you can have a longer career than the athlete. And I think, what is it? 5 to 7 years for an NBA player, 3 years for an NFL player. That's the lifespan that you have as a professional being in that limelight. But the ones who were the publicists, the security guards, the barbers, the videographers, the business partners, their career goes on a lot longer than that 3 to 7 years time span. So I hope that you push that on your kids. I hope the kid that's watching looks at it from a different what's my backup plan if I choose to go this way? Because I think a lot of athletes say, all I know is basketball. And if I don't know anything else, what else am I going to do? And then now you're in that room by yourself, and it's suicide, alcoholism, domestic violence, whatever it may be. Those demons start to come out because you can't have the limelight that you once had. So, it's like, think about what that next career is going to be.
Keep going, man. But you got
No,
something. Go ahead.
I'm glad Tallboy touched that, because I've always thought, especially kids, athletes at the collegiate level should have counseling at the end when they leave, when it's their last or senior year, especially the ones that are not going to go into the professionals, because that's a stopping point, right? You either stop in high school, kind of deal with it. When you go to college, it doesn't matter. You have a lot more going on at that point. And there's a way to depress. I mean, I will admit I went through a little bit of depression when I stopped playing. It was like there's no more. I don't have any other opportunities. And even though something came arise that just didn't fit me, but I had to come to the realization I can't play no more. And I think there needs to be something that's there. I would wish colleges would provide it, to be honest with you, and just say, hey, you need to come here and just talk about, in a group setting, talk about what you're going through when it's over. Because it's going to end for everybody. That's the one part I don't think people understand. It ends for everybody. It's going to end. No one can play forever. It's going to end. And when it ends, like you said, the demons come out if you don't have another thing to fill your void, or you don't have another avenue that you want to work towards your goals. As much as athletics brings to the table, like it teaches you all the teamwork and all that stuff and leadership skills and how to operate and all that stuff, like you said, it doesn't show you that mechanism of when that stops, how to operate. You have to kind of learn how to adjust that on your own. So I would hope universities would kind of employ that within their universities to say, hey, we need to make sure we talk to these athletes when the end of the rodeo is what happens. And I can only imagine for female athletes, because they don't really, a lot of them don't have pros like softball. There's no professional softball. So for young ladies who've been playing softball since she's been 6, all the way through college, and that's cut off, what is she supposed to do at that point? I can only imagine what happens at that point. So there's a whole dynamic, rat hole we can go down to kind of talk about it. But I wish.
Well, unfortunately, and it's funny because I have a family member. He's about to graduate from high school, and he was doing very well in Tennessee. He was ranked, and all he did from 6th grade or 7th grade, from the moment he got ranked, he played ball throughout the summer, played ball through the season. Then as soon as the season ended, I think he started doing spring ball. So he only had that 2 months, from August, September, before October. He only had 2 months to where he could do something else. I don't even know. He's about to graduate high school, and he doesn't even know where he's going to college yet because the scholarship did not present himself. And that's some of that, it falls on him and not doing, not preparing himself. But he was the man, touted as the man, you're ranked in the state, and then all of a sudden, what's next? Now, to the brother that was in the comments that I didn't know what I was going to do with high school and college, no one talks about what's next. The parents don't talk about what's next. The coaches, you're considered a horse. And until you can no longer provide value, and that horse can't win me no more races.
That's real talk.
That horse got to. That horse got to go. So no one talks about, because we all are the alpha males that come. You got a bunch of alpha males that come into that room, and it's who is the best of the best. Because you got a scholarship for a reason. You were the best in high school, or you were the best in your niche of whatever that sport was. And when you got to that college, it now became you're at the creme de la creme. And then now who rises to the top? And you can see who plays and who rides the bench. But when that time is up and those 4 years are up, what's the next movement, if that makes sense? And no one sits you down and says, all right, you go, because the coaches, all they care about is what they say, basketball first, books second. That's what they say, right? So you saw what I did, right? And so it's like basketball, or what did it say? Basketball first. No, I think I did it wrong. Books first, basketball second or something like that. So it was like the other way around. So whatever he was saying, he put up his fingers and told you it was the opposite. And you had to figure that out. And you bet not tell that coach that you can't make it to practice or you can't play in that game because you got this essay or you got this thesis or you got this project, because they ain't trying to hear that. Son, I brought you here to win me some games. So back to your first story that you had earlier that I tapped in on, that's that mindset of how a lot of these coaches think. And so hopefully someone will create a tour where they can go in and, they don't want the truth. You think Nick Saban really wants to sit there? I mean, he'll bring in your boy Eric Thomas, but as long as it's in alignment of what I'm saying, we good. But when you get the real of what's after your career, how many people are giving you that real?
Wow. Keep going, man, because we gonna close with that. Carlos, I see your comment there asking about Tiger's internal experience, like nothing we can imagine at this point in his life and career. How much do you think he's feeling like he's letting his dad down? Man, again, you coming out with some haymakers, man, and we gonna continue that conversation. I'm trying to be like a crack dealer right now. We just gonna give y'all a little bit, and and make sure you come back when we figure out the naming for this part 2 type of series. Tallboy, tell the folks who you are, man. There's some new folks in the community here that have jumped in for this particular night, and I want folks, I'd be remiss if we didn't let you say who you were, where they can find you, things of that nature, man. So I'm gonna give you this floor just for 1 second, brother. Go ahead.
I hope you hype me up after I say what I'm about to say.
Boy, you know what?
Watch out there now, boy. Watch out there now, boy.
Oh my God.
Anyway, my name is Corey Sanders. I go by the name of Tall Boy. I don't like it when you call me by my government, because I branded myself as Tall Boy, all right? Mr. Think Big, Believe in God, Think Tall, the sky's the limit, Tall Boy. So I do a lot of things from content creation, videography, live streaming production, and then I also host a tech show called The Lab Tech Show, where we simplify tech in a language that you can understand, and it airs before this show at 8 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays. And then, James then came behind me and started doing Team No Sleep so he can steal my followers. Not just messing with you, James. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm a guy that I say what I mean what I say. I love to travel. I love to create content, and I know how to just make it happen. I found my passion. I found what I love to do, and I'm out here doing it, living it every day. Here I go. Yep.
All right, brother.
Period.
There we go. All right, you found your triggers too. Montel, take us home, man. We didn't got into it. I still need to go get underneath the squat rack before I lose my mind. So take us home, Montel.
I wish I had the motivation, brother.
Yeah, got to get in that gym. Hey, everyone get comfortable having uncomfortable conversations. Say your prayers and we out. Peace.
All right, y'all, be good. I will do some magic behind the scenes and stitch this show together. That was all me. My apologies. Hopefully the content is what brought you here. Hopefully the content brings you back. Tell somebody, and we'll see y'all next week.